Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. This is Panos here from LearnWorlds. Super happy to have you all here. Feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat box of Zoom. Let us know where you're logging in from. Also, let us know if you can hear me all right. We have prepared some amazing content for you today. How we are leading the change with AI-powered instructional designs for creators and educators. We're continuing to build up on our series for mastering AI and how to make our lives easier and our jobs more impactful, how we can transform our teaching approach by harnessing the power of AI. Wow, a huge stream of hellos here. We have Berlin, Colombia, Argentina, Charlotte, North Carolina, South California, New York, Paris. Hi, Roberto. Hi, Mohammed. Hi, Larry. Hi, everyone. We'll be starting in one moment, just giving the chance to more people to take the presentation, follow the presentation from the start. Also, don't worry, we will send you a full recording of the presentation so you won't miss anything. You will find it tomorrow in your emails. Just stick around, introduce yourselves in the chat, send your questions to the Q&A box of Zoom. Our team here will try to answer as many questions as possible while we present, and hopefully we can tackle a couple of questions at the end of the presentations. Also, we have our amazing support as always, Stefania and Eleni from our customer support team, live on the chat answering as you go. So hi, Crystal. Hi, Rene. Hi, Dan. Our presentation is also live streamed on our social media channels, so you may also find a full recording there. However, again, we're ready to go in a few moments. Panayota, shall we start sharing our presentation? I see
the right slide.
Yep, we're great. I think we also start seeing some questions on the Q&A. Keep them coming, people. Yes, Roberto, as we mentioned, we'll have a full recording shared to you later. Also, stick to until the end. We'll have a couple of surprises for you at the end. So I think we're ready to go, and people will catch up as we go along. I would like to introduce myself again. I'm Panos. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of LearnWorlds. We are very, very excited to be able to share with you, based on our ongoing series of AI, the power of AI and how instructional designers and creators can harness the power of AI to improve their jobs. Today, I have an expert panel again of our own in-house experts. Super happy to have with us George, our co-founder and chief product officer and chief scientist of LearnWorlds. And we also have Panayota, our resident instructional technologies expert and educational technologies expert, and also Elisa from our training team, learning and designer expert, who will be presenting presenting also in live terms some of the things that we'll be speaking here today. So let's head over to our agenda. Today we will be talking about showing you the 5 levers of AI expertise that you need for course design, and we'll show you how AI, with the power of AI, you can multiply the effectiveness and the impact of your work. How you can transform the way that you produce content, you design content, you generate courses. And I think you're gonna enjoy very much the capacities that we're unlocking for you today. Also, we're gonna show how this is actually implemented within the LearnWorlds platform. Most of the things that you see here are these are things that we are taking into consideration as we design and develop the product, and you will already see the very powerful prompt engineering that has been injected to the LearnWorlds platform and can already help you today, not tomorrow, not in the distant future, take advantage of the power of generative AI to be even more productive, even more efficient in how you approach your work every day. And also we'll show you lots and lots of live examples of how things can be done, even some prompt engineering snippets that you can start copy pasting even from our presentations and putting into live use. And we'll try to tackle as many Q&As questions as possible. So from me, a very brief intro about what is LearnWorlds. LearnWorlds is an e-learning platform designed for educators, trainers, organizations that seek to create and sell engaging interactive courses. In fact, we're trying to be the e-learning component for every business that is creating and disseminating knowledge. And most businesses in the 21st century should be knowledge-based businesses and should be trying to see how to harness the power of knowledge and distribute this knowledge to their audiences, either internally or externally. LearnWorlds is super proud to serve more than 10,000 customers in more than 160 countries and more than 20 million learners around the world. And we're talking about cases of direct B2C cases where large-scale course sellers are selling courses massively to hundreds of thousands of users, all the way to customer education or internal training, where large organizations are training and educating every day in their internal audiences. They're doing extended enterprise corporate training. All these cases can be harnessed with this super flexible and super powerful learning management system that we have developed for you. And also AI powered. So this is what we're going to cover today. We're going to show you not just the technology that has been developed on top of LearnWorlds, but most importantly, the science and the principles of instructional design, the things that will help you understand how to take advantage of this technology, not feel threatened by that, but feel empowered by that. So we are doing a step further of democratizing the power of generative AI, specialized also for instructional designers like you. And let's see today how we can help you do your job even better and even more in a more impactful way. And let's first start with a little poll that will just let us know, help us understand a bit better how to our audience here today. And I'm launching in the poll now. Let's understand how familiar you are with AI. We see the answers coming in. Thanks everyone for participating. I think we can, as the questions come in, we can proceed to the next slide. So from me, a message about everything that we do here today. We don't feel threatened, and we see the most accomplished professionals not feel threatened by AI. AI will not replace you, but a creator, an educator, an instructional designer who is using AI in effective ways will replace you. So we are here to cover this, to make sure that we cover this distance to help you also multiply the power that you have at your disposal and operate with a sidekick, an assistant on your side that will feel like you have a team, a small or a bigger team next to you, and not be alone as you face your work. So we are here to show you how AI can help you extend and elevate your expertise and convert you into an even more accomplished and productive professional. So I'm ending the poll now. And sharing the results to you. So as we can see, 37% of people have explored or experimented with AI tools. So we have a good portion of people here who are familiar, and the things that we're going to talk here today feel relevant. Hopefully we can build on what you have already played with. We have another 28% of people who regularly use AI in their daily work. That's very, very encouraging, and hopefully we can show things that are very relevant to you. And we're looking forward to look from your experiences and let us know how we can make the platform even more relevant. 21% that are familiar but haven't used it in practice. Hopefully we'll eliminate this percentage by tomorrow. And another 13% that are not familiar at all. And 2% that consider themselves experts in AI tools and tactics. I really, really hope that we will be able to raise up to your standards here today and show you some very, very useful things. So let's proceed then.
So hi from here, Kavala in Greece. I'm George. I'm CPO and co-founder in LearnWorlds. Always thrilled to talk to people that are more than 50 countries, if I'm not mistaken right now. So a huge amount of people viewing right now our presentation. Why are we doing this presentation is because we think that we have a good framework so as to help you understand and exploit AI in your daily instructional design tasks. In general, let's say that ChatGPT and AI is being used in an opportunistic way from instructional designers. Why? Because it's so powerful that I can ask whatever I want and I can get a result. But the question here is this enough for a professional instructional designer? And you know, here we have both audiences. We have instructional designers that serve others and help others to create courses, but also we have course creators that are also instructional designers. So the question is, how can we structure the set of knowledge that we need to know so as to take advantage of ChatGPT? We usually say that this is a framework to help you exploit in a structured way the chaos of opportunities that AI gives you. So let's see what that framework suggests. We have 5 layers of skills that we feel that every instructional designer should have. The first level is something that probably everyone is already doing, asking questions about the domain. You know, what is that, ChatGPT? How can I do that? When this happened, and so on. The second layer is again something very essential for the instructional designer and for the course creator. Let's create some learning activities. What kind of learning activities? Flashcards, slides, sounds, podcast, whatever. The third layer says to us, how can we structure this prompt so as to become more efficient? Essentially, how can we accelerate the way that we produce results from the AI so as, you know, to save time and get better results? The fourth layer, for me, it's probably the most important one and the one that it makes a difference in these 5 layers. Can we use theories, well-known theories, for instructional design in our designs, although we are maybe not experts in that field of pedagogy and educational theory and so on? We will show you the things that you can exploit and take advantage of without knowing anything about the theories. But we are going to open to you the design space of instructional design. I think that will be quite mind-blowing for you. And the last thing, the last layer that we feel that you need to know is which are the tools out there that can help me exploit AI. So 5 layers. The first one is about doing main things. The second one is about how many learning activities we can produce. The third one is how I can build efficient prompts so as to accelerate my work. The fourth is how can I, let's say, enhance my instructional design by using complicated theories, although I may not understand them so well. And the fifth layer is which are the tools that I should know so as, again, to accelerate my work. So let's start with the first layer, Panagiota.
Yes, thank you, George. Hello, everyone. So as George mentioned, the first layer is something that you have most likely tried so far. So you have been interacting with AI to gain some understanding of the domain. And how you have been doing this, most likely you have been asking simple questions. So this is like the basics you have been doing so far. You can see here in this breakdown some type of questions you can ask AI, like retrieval questions. You can ask about the concept, about the rationale behind some ideas, or even clarify any gray spots you might have about the domain. You might be an expert, but you sometimes might need some refreshment. So this is like a very nice way to gain some understanding. Of course, we have decision type questions, probing questions, and some type of reflective thinking questions. However, all of these type of simple questions have something in common. It's questions starting with WH words like what, why, who, when, where, whose, which, how, very simple things. So you can start with AI by just asking the most simple questions you can think of regarding a domain. But let's see an example here. Let's assume that you are a fitness coach who is trying to create a very specific course on home workouts, and you want to leverage everyday objects, and you give ChatGPT an image of your space and asking it to identify some objects you can use in your course. So here we prompt with ChatGPT 4.0, and you can see the vision capability and some let's go and see the suggestions. I mean, the ideas are really nice. So you can see some exercises you can do with the couch in the image, some exercises with the chair. You can see, for instance, with the chair, some seated leg lifts. It describes particularly the exercises and so on.
I think this is mind-blowing again, because you're a personal training, you're going to say to someone, okay, give me a photo, please, of your sitting room, and then I will give you some exercises. This is something that can be done only now, like just the last days after the last release of the ChatGPT. So you're saying, okay, let's give the photo, let's feed that photo to ChatGPT and say, ask ChatGPT, you're a fitness coach. What should we do in this room? What can we do? It identifies all the objects and it suggests activities. Isn't that mind-blowing? And isn't that a huge personalization opportunity for learning experience that we didn't have in the past?
Yeah, sure it is. Moving on to the next case for layer 1, we are still in the basics, but yet again, we are doing something more, something deeper here, where we're using AI to help us solve problem-specific, domain-specific problems. Sorry, so here we have a case where we want to create a course and use some custom code examples. Our course is about errors and debugging. So once again, ChatGPT has specific knowledge, understanding on particular domains. And here you can see that it fetched some examples, code examples, which we can definitely use in our designs to inform our designs. And of course, some tips on how our learners can think while they're processing these examples, which is really cool and helpful, and something that you can really generate quickly.
So while in the first layer, you were asking, in the first part of the first layer, you were asking descriptive questions, what, how, why. Here in the second part of the first layer, you are asking ChatGPT as a domain modeler. ChatGPT can model things. So you can ask him create models or evaluate models or interact, enable you to interact with models. So here we are talking about programming. In the next example, we are talking about data analysis. So ChatGPT is not only, let's say, a very clever encyclopedia, but it's also an excellent modeler of knowledge. So let's say the next example, Panagiotis.
Yeah, so here we have a specific example about data analysis, and let's assume that you have a data set you want to analyze, but you might don't know where to start. So let's assume we use AI here, and we have uploaded the data, and you can see here in the table that AI transformed our data set into an interactive table which we can work with, and then we asked of course, AI to conduct an analysis, use some tables, generate some diagrams according to what it thinks most appropriate.
It's
And,
open-ended, Panayota. It's
yeah.
open-ended. So you say, I have this data set. Help me analyze that stuff. So it's open-ended. I don't know anything. Help me understand. And again, this is the latest version of the ChatGPT, and you are seeing that it provides even diagrams, analysis. It's so amazing.
And even if you have more specific data analysis questions, you can even get more impressive results like particular box plots or even concept analysis. And it can identify the most referenced words if you have comments, like in this case of the prompt. We have uploaded some comments from our students, and it also performed some analysis of their comments.
I think it's very important to underline that, because several people are using ChatGPT as let's say, another person on the opposite side, and they are discussing. Don't forget that you can upload all your material and talk about that material. That's very important in this first layer. You can ask a question about what by uploading first your text, your ebook, and say, okay, what is that based on my ebook? So I think also this is very powerful. For this first layer, at least, although we are going to see that also in the second layer.
And so, George, to add something, especially for the latest version of ChatGPT, for Omni, they make it even easier for you to have direct connections with your data, because it has been also optimized a lot for data analysis. So you can directly connect a Google Sheet or an Excel file, which, as it's being updated, you can still keep asking questions and get your analysis. So it can be your data repository, and you can use it as a data analyst on top of your data. So these are some amazing new uses that we're going to see.
And not only can you use your pre-existing files and information on layer 1, but on layer 2 as well. And this brings me to the point exactly. So hello, I am Elisa, and I'm going to talk to you about creating learning activities using AI. So this is what we'll discuss in layer 2. If you want to go over to the next slide. So I'm going to talk about what kind of activities we can create with AI. So the first thing that you're seeing right here is flashcard. Who doesn't love flashcards, right? They're interactive, visually stimulating, you see things. So what have we done here? So first off, you'll see that we have used a file already that we have some information. And based off of that, we ask from the tool to read this file that has my students' countries of origin. And I wanted to use that and identify different types of cuisines. So based on that, I wanted to create those types of cuisines and identify key characteristics for each one. So you'll see right here in the results that this is what it came up with, for instance, Indian cuisine. So you see some of the key characteristics is the ingredients that they use, and they're these and that, the cooking techniques, iconic meals, some of them are these and that. And of course, on the other side of the flashcard, you will see an image depicting that type of a cuisine, right? So Indian is one, could be anything else based on my user's country of origin. So the first type of activity is a flashcard. Let's move over to the next one. And next up, we have a timeline. So timelines are very interesting. Learners really learn a lot easier if they have something lined up in a timely manner like this. So here we are asking for a timeline to present the history of digital marketing. So it did exactly that, and you'll see it's just outlining it, the early days starting in 1971 and then moving on until 2010, for instance. So very easy, in a matter of seconds, it's going to come up with the timeline that you need. Next up is the filling the blank learning activity. As a course creator, this is something that we have to create a lot of times. We know that it takes time, but not only will the tool do that for us, but once more, you see that we are using our pre-existing material. So if you already have a specific list, perhaps with words or vocabulary that you want to use for the specific exercise and activity, that's great. You can use this and you can feed this into the tool. And this is exactly what we did. So we asked the AI tool to create a fill in the blank worksheet. It's for users. So we're specifying the audience here that are learning English as a second language. So that kind of tells the system to not use, vocabulary that perhaps they wouldn't be able to understand. We described the task. So the task is to fill in the blank, and we want the tool to also offer some words as options for them to fill in the blank. And it did exactly that. So we have 8 sentences, and I think somewhere here we asked right here exactly for 8 sentences, and here's the words that we can use for each one of these sentences. So very fast, and again, using pre-existing material. In the next slide, you'll find the glossaries. So glossaries are very popular. Either you want to add them towards the beginning of your course or towards the end. Maybe you want to highlight and just list terms that you use for your specific niche or domain that you're using. So right here, we need a glossary for product management. And it did exactly that. So created a glossary around any terms that are in product management. Next up, we have slides. So who doesn't use slides and presentations these days? So very easily done from here. So again, act as a digital marketing expert. You'll see that it's always helpful to assume, to give a role to the AI tool, right? To just assimilate that role and create 10 slides for my course in brand growth. For each slide, present 3 key takeaways in bullet points. And this is exactly what it did. So we need 10 slides, and each slide will have 3 key takeaways for brand growth. Next up, the video script. So this heads home. We create a lot of videos here in LearnWorlds. So not only can you create flashcards and timelines and fill in the blanks, but videos are also a very popular learning activity, right? So why not use the help of AI to help you come up with a script for the video? So here you'll see that the prompt is very specific. So act as a conflict resolution expert and write a video script. You see that we determine the exact length. We need it to be a 5-minute video, the tone of voice, include jokes, and we describe a specific structure. So we wanted to start with introduction and with common conflict scenarios, with communication skills, empathy, and so on. And you see that it does exactly that. Break the script down into scenes, and you see scene 1, scene 2, and create 2 columns. So not only do we ask for the script, but we also ask for a suggestion on visual. So yes, this is what's going to be talked about during the video, but what do we show, right? So not only does it come up with what you need to say, but also what to show on each scene. So very helpful, especially if you're a first-timer in video creation. Next up, we have audio scripts. With the rise of podcasts, I feel like everybody is onto a specific podcast these days. So why not create an audio script as well, right? Quite similar to the video one, but obviously this is limited to audio. So kind of the same. Over here, act as a seasoned 3D designer and create a podcast script about 3D designing. So here again, we have our limitations. We need a 15-minute audio, use motivational friendly tone of voice, and so on. So it's kind of like the same, but again, you're not showing visuals over here. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry for interrupting, Elisa. I think I think we have to underline that we are providing right now well-elaborated prompts. And it's important for you to see that, it's not about asking ChatGPT, do please that, what is that? It's about being precise, and this is what Panos will show you, you will show you immediately after, being precise, understanding the opportunities that you have, and trying to describe exactly what you need. So this is a very well-elaborated prompt that brings some amazing results because you are combining so many things together. And at the very end, what we are sharing with you in this level is that you need to understand the lexicon of the learning activities that are available. Slides, this is what we are saying right now. Slides, scripts, videos, crosswords, and many more that we will share with you with a book that we are going to send you tomorrow, because there is also an ebook for this presentation. It's about understanding what you can do. And this is something that most instructional designers haven't understood yet, what they can do, which are the artifacts the educational artifacts that they create. And these are just some samples of the educational artifacts that you can use, sorry.
Exactly. There's no limit, essentially. You come up with your ideas and your prompts and what you wanted to generate, essentially. All right, so going back into the script, and if you wanted to kind of like touch it up a little bit and embellish it, we have the same prompt over here, only this time we are also asking for the tool to generate the actual audio narration for my podcast script. So we added this and it's going to come up and you'll see down here where it's creating the audio for that. Exactly. Next up, I think case study, George, this is on you.
Yes, we do know the value of case studies in a course outline. Everyone needs a case study, so we have to understand what we are talking about, to contextualize better the subject matter. So here, see how elaborate again is this prompt is. We asking ChatGPT to act as a rehabilitation expert, and we ask it to create a case study about a specific patient. Then we are setting up the goal of the case study, and then we describe several things that we want the case study to conform with. We are saying the case study should describe this thing, describe the program and fitness structure with frequency, duration, and progression, focus on exercises that can be adapted for the patient's specific needs. And you can see on the right that this case study is being ready in a moment. And you know what is important here is to understand that, in general, we would have found very hard to create one case study. But now, by switching some parameters here, you can create 10 case studies. And you can select the case study that it fits better your needs. So, case studies, stories, I think is immediately after slide. You can create instructional stories. Storytelling is a very hot right now theme in instructional design. So you can ask ChatGPT to create a story. See here, and also the analogy that we are asking ChatGPT to create a story for illustrating the importance of consistency and discipline in piano learning. How difficult is that to create by yourself? And if you, again, you can see the result on the right column. And again, by changing and playing with these variables, you can create very fast a couple of case studies that can fit your needs. The next, let's say, educational artifact that you can create is self-assessment checklists. Here, we are doing something clever. We are saying that we are getting the students' feedback for a course, and we are saying, let's create for this course a self-assessment checklist for the students. So on the right, again, you are getting this self-assessment checklist, which you can print, you can copy and paste in a Word document or in a Google Docs document, and you can print it or share it with your students. Even more advanced is the last scenario when we are asking ChatGPT to analyze a video and create a self-assessment checklist. So here we are in a personalized training use case. So I know that Panayota did something, I have the video, I'm uploading that to ChatGPT and I'm asking ChatGPT, can you give me a self-assessment checklist for Panayota? Imagine that these kind of artifacts wouldn't be even in our thought before 1 year. So the next thing is images. Again, a huge improvement in the latest weeks. So here we asked ChatGPT, because we have a course about cooking, to create an image with a chef that tries to focus on julienne cutting technique. We are describing exactly what we want to see in the foreground. We are setting up the aspect ratio, and we are getting the result. So how fast is that? How much time should we spend so as to find an image that fits our needs? So again, I think this is the last artifact that we have in this presentation. In the book, we have more. So please try to develop your lexicon of artifacts that you can create with ChatGPT. And I think we can go on with the next level. Of course, right now, let's not forget that You have tons of material available because we are instructor, we have probably courses, we have created books, we have created documents, we have created PowerPoints, and you can use ChatGPT to transform this material. This is always a very tiring thing to do, because if you want, for example, to say, okay, I want a shorter version of this, my text, or I want to create a more formal version of my text, or I want to, let's say, enrich or expand or make bigger that text, that would mean tons of hours from your side. But right now, with ChatGPT, don't forget, if you're an instructor and you have your own material, learning material, you can transform that material with the examples we are showing you in the slide into a different form in a matter of seconds. And let's go to the next one. Again, we are talking about transformation, and now we are not talking about making bigger or smaller or changing the tone of voice, but we are saying about summarized material. I have to share that I needed to create a summary of a PowerPoint yesterday, and just uploaded the PowerPoint in ChatGPT and said, can you give me a summary? I got the summary and set it for publication in a journal, in a scientific journal. So it's that simple. So it's very important to remember as an instructor that you already have material and you can transform material. And that's not only for your material, but also for the material that exists out there. So you are finding an article, which is great. You want to share that with your students, but the tone of voice is formal. Bring it there, change the tone of voice, and share it with your students. And I think we are ready to go to the third layer.
And here we're talking about efficiency. All the amazing scenarios that were just presented, you understand that you can do that you can do those en masse. When we are talking about analyzing video, something that would take you several minutes to do, now with the help of ChatGPT, you can do that and provide massive personalization even to an audience of 50, 100, a few hundred students. So in this level, we're talking, in this layer, we're talking about prompt engineering and how we can be very, very efficient when we use ChatGPT for help. And this is something that we have prepared. It's inspired, obviously, informed by instructional design, and we have created a framework here with 9 steps, an AI prompt engineering framework. So even now, it might not be like that in a few years or perhaps in a few months, but still the output that we're getting from ChatGPT or any other generative AI is very much controlled by what type of prompt engineering we put into that. So garbage in, garbage out. And here also we're talking about the art of prompt engineering. That was the original title of our book, the book that we published, and you can still download it from our website, because there are no clear-cut rules or like engineering. Engineering also includes lots of testing and experimentation, and we have done this testing and experimentation for you. We have run dozens of examples so that we can offer you the prompts that are tweaked, and obviously you can retweak to fit your own particular situation and your own particular content and audience and everything else, so that they are extremely specialized and effective. And that's not a generic answer that any other instructional designer can do, because you will be the only one who might have created that particular prompt. So here you can see in the upper layer, in the upper half of the slide, you can see what a simple prompt, and this is usually in most cases the suggestion of OpenAI, just give us simple things and let us figure out the answers. Yes, but in this case you will get the generic, basic, I guess, slide suggestion that you are getting on the top right corner. So here we are asking our generative AI to give us a presentation about nutrition for the condition for somebody who suffers from diabetes. And you see on the top right something that is accurate, it's simple, it's informative, but it's not at the expert level that you would require. And see below what happens with some smart prompt engineering, where you introduce parameters like the role, who is the one speaking for, like what is the role is the generative AI assuming in order to answer. You ask some very specific outputs. You set some parameters about the size or the depth or the difficulty or the byproducts that you want to get, like speaker notes, some highlights or anything else. And on the top, on the bottom right corner, this is the kind of output you can get. And that's not something that you have to repeat. In most cases, we have done this for you, so you can copy paste some prompts, you can tweak them obviously, and you can keep them also stored in reference, even in your ChatGPT, to reuse and repurpose later on. And the level of output that you are getting, it's not just it's a next level of depth. And obviously, you can always repurpose, adjust that to different audiences at a fraction of the cost. So once you have done the heavy lifting, and we have done here the heavy lifting of giving you this framework, these 9 steps for your generative AI, you can do the last mile, and you can get some amazing results that can help you be even more productive in your content generation.
Arno, may I ask you something? How faster you think that you can become by using this framework, for example, for creating this presentation?
I think this is a superpower. This is how it feels. This is how it feels to me, especially now when we are able to also add images, which is something that I'm always struggling with or spending a bit more time. I find myself being able to create presentations in like 10 or 15 minutes. Presentations that are worthy to showing to colleagues and to customers and to students, and that frankly that shouldn't be possible. It was never possible in the past. So imagine what you can do today, and especially if you're not starting from the basic level of somebody who just goes in and interacting, but you are starting already from well engineered prompts.
Of course, in any case, if I may add something here, is that we have to check out the outputs and be on top of what is generated. I mean, we are the experts after all. We need this human aspect on the generated results. So don't forget to do that. Don't forget to review what AI generates. So this is actually super important, and it will never stop to be essential.
And I just saw a question from somebody here on our chat about what would stop, let's say, the customer from Andrew to do something like that. Well, if the customer watches this presentation and gets hold of these tools and understands that there are some principles of instructional design and of presentation and educational technology that can be incorporated, then yes, they can do it. But this is how we help you do that extra translation and have that extra edge in how you prepare your material. I guess in the long term, we might all be replaced, but we are nowhere near there. So this is what can help you get that advantage and use that tool and not be replaceable by anyone else.
This is exactly what we are going to show you at the end of this presentation, that it's good to stay here because you will see how you don't need to learn all these prompts, but you can use AI-aware tools that are doing all that stuff for you. But it's better, of course, also for you to know all this stuff. So let's go on to layer 4 fast.
Okay, so let's assume that you're about to begin your design. So far, we saw what you can do before designing, taking a look at domain expertise with the help of AI, producing some learning activities, using prompt engineering for efficiency. But at this level, we argue that you can actually create exceptional instructional plans, just optimizing the results with some touches of theory behind them. But you need 3 particular things in order to achieve these exceptional designs. You need to know your learners, understand your learners. And of course, you are first designing and then you are meeting your learners. So this is like a step before you have enrolled your learners in the course. So this is really crucial because you might not have anything on them. Then, of course, you have to use some theory to inspire these plans. And maybe you can sparkle some creativity on top just to optimize the results. So beginning with some aspects, what we have gathered here is 7 different ways you can use AI to understand your learners. For instance, you can generate some learning personas that you can then discuss with them and understand better your audience, or you can understand your learners' prior knowledge and their misconceptions. And let's see some particular examples. So in this case here, we have an experienced UI UX designer who is creating courses for user interface engineering, and they want to know their audience. So they ask AI to generate 4 personas, and they ask specific information for these personas. They want to have some background, some pain points, some motivation aspects. And we see here that the output is generated as we asked, as we command in 3-column table. And what is really interesting here is that we have asked AI to provide us some additional questions to interview the personas. Then we can have a specific discussion with each persona and understand it better and personalize our results better.
So what you are saying, Panayota, here is that you are a course creator and you want to create a course for an audience. Mm-hmm. Do you know the audience? Do you know that ChatGPT can help you understand the audience? It indexes all the articles that are out there with all the info that are out there for your audience. So if you ask it to create, let's say I'm creating a course about dog training, for example, and I want to say, which are the dog trainers? Can you give me 3 personas? Can you imagine how important is that for your instructional design, if not also the marketing initiatives that you are going to get? You will need to create. So Panayota here is showing us that ChatGPT can be used to understand the target audience. And I think this is critical. And many people are not using that, and they are creating instructional stuff without understanding the audience. So that's a nice step that you have to have in mind when you are designing instructional learning experiences.
So here is another example. We leverage AI here to understand the background and experiences because we are designing a course targeting CEOs and time management. So we asked ChatGPT to provide us CEOs' experiences, stories, and strategies. And you see in the output, which is really interesting here, that it has fetched some well-known CEOs, and actually it engineered the whole design of the course based on their strategies, experiences, which is really interesting. And you can start tweaking further these results and maybe create more specific also activities based on these results here. And another interesting prompt here is how you can use AI to learn your learners' misconceptions. So usually before a course, students have some wrong ideas, and you might want to know them in order to begin with these ideas and try to refute them in a way. So in this case here, we have a security architect who is creating a cybersecurity course for junior engineers, and they want to know their misconceptions on phishing attacks and malware. So you can see in the output generated, like we have a misconception that phishing only occurs via email, a specific analysis, so that we can understand better the misconception and, of course, use it later on in our designs.
Just to answer the question, no, the personas that you've seen are being created by ChatGPT. We didn't send anything to ChatGPT. So it's what ChatGPT understands as, let's say, dog trainers. So no issue there.
Mm-hmm. And on this second sub-layer, on the 4th layer, we are focusing more on theory-inspired instructional plans. So you are instructional designers, course educators. You might use some theories more intuitively, and you want to optimize your results. So we have here some theories that concern learning objectives, outline generation, and even more specific instructional design principles you can use. Let's move on to the examples. So here we have a wellness coach who is creating a course on stress management, and he wants to generate learning objectives with this SMART approach. So in this case, of course, you know how to generate learning objectives, but in this case, with this theory, you optimize the results and you get more measurable, specific, achievable, and relevant results. And so you can see the example, the output generated. So the specific learning objective to understand and identify different types of stress and their sources, or the time-bound aspect that the module is structured to be completed within 1 week with specific milestone, etc. Another idea is how you can use Bloom's taxonomy, which is a well-known actually theory in order to design learning objectives. And the case study here, it's like we have a parenting consultant who wants to design a course on sibling rivalry. So he creates 10 learning objectives with Bloom's taxonomy, and you can see in the output directly, you can see with bold the specific verbs that refer to Bloom's taxonomy. And yeah, it gives us exactly what we have asked so far.
I think creating learning objectives is quite a demanding thing. It's also very cognitive, let's say, demanding. So here you can use a framework and create learning objectives on these layers. So if you see the responses on the right column, you're saying in terms of remembering, you have to identify and define common behaviors. In terms of understanding, in terms of applying knowledge, in terms of analyze. So you are again able, and think of that. We show you the SMART framework and the Bloom's taxonomy framework, and you want to create learning objectives for your course, for your online course. So what should you do? Just 2 prompts. 1 prompt with Bloom, one prompt with SMART, and combine. Select the things that you think that are better for you. Or even change and do 5 times the same thing so as to understand the spectrum of objectives that are relevant to a specific domain and select the ones that you want. So nothing to be constructed from zero. That's the main point here.
And also you can do it for your entire course because this is something very, very difficult to do. Usually people do it at the very top level of the entire course, but here you can go for each and every one of your learning units. So people can have some very, very specific objectives to work on. And obviously you can convert that later immediately to something to be assessed so that you know that people were able to achieve their goals.
You can do it in the reverse way, Pano. If you already have a course and you don't have learning objectives, you can say, this is my material. Which are the learning objectives that I can meet with this material? So you can produce the learning objective immediately after. Again, for example, by using this theory or the other theory. So let's go on to see other.
Okay, so here we have some theory-related aspects which we see in the prompt. We have this digital marketing expert who wants to design a course on YouTube monetization, aiming beginner-level learners, and he wants an introductory module outline using Gagné's 9 events. So in this theory, we actually have 9 events to follow during our instruction. And the first one is how we can gain attention of our learners. And you see it generates a specific activity. For instance, it suggests to start with a captivating video to showcase success stories. And it continues for each event to generate some suggestions of activities. And similar results you can get with other instructional design theoretical approaches like the ADDIE model. So let's assume that you are a fashion designer expert on designing a course or a syllabus here for fashion technology specifically, and you want to use the ADDIE model for the creation of the outline. So as you can see in the output, this model has 5 specific phases. We have the analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. And you can see that for each learning objective, you can give specific steps for your instruction plan to follow.
And activities. So we are suggesting activities. So what we've shown you until now is that, all these theories are well researched. They are produced better educational results. So that's why we're saying, why don't we use them so as to create our courses, or at least to inspire us? But, you know, always we conclude with the same result. People are being bored of what we are saying, or our content is being boring because we have to read text and so on. Everyone tries to see the unexpected, try to find something that will trigger his interest and so on. And here is where ChatGPT and all these models excel, to combine things that people probably cannot combine. So let's see how ChatGPT can help you create things that are innovative, that are unexpected. So let's start and see some approaches here. The first, in the book, we have 4 categories of techniques, so as to create things that are out of the box, things that will intrigue you also. We have the creative thinking techniques, the role-playing techniques, the critical thinking techniques, and the humor expression techniques. As you understand, all these techniques are for enhancing the learning journey. So let's start with the creative thinking techniques. And please think that you can ask ChatGPT to create analogies. For example, right now we are saying act as a marketing consultant, designing a course on marketing and business strategies. Use an analogy from cooking to explain the concept of market segmentation. See how specific that is? And see on the right, you know, just as a skilled chef knows that not everyone enjoys the same dishes, a savvy marketer understands that different customers have different needs and preferences. It's mind-blowing. You know, it's something that you didn't expect to read. So is that going to intrigue your students? Probably yes. Let's see more techniques, because there are several of them. Again, you're a marketing and business consultant, and you want to explain the concept of market segmentation in the style of a cowboy from old westerns. What ChatGPT will produce based on that? Read again the text you have on the second column. Imagine that you're a cowboy herding cattle across the vast open plains. You know, the tone of voice, the expressions, you are in a Western. So enjoy learning about market segmentation by thinking inside a Western story. Is that going to, you know, again, motivate and drive your students? Probably yes. Another technique. Lateral thinking is a theory of how you can produce, let's say, unexpected results. So here again, we are using lateral thinking to talk about market segmentation. And you will see that, again, in a totally different way, you know, we have the cowboy. Now we have another thing, which says, for example, the time-based segmentation, which is based on the time of the day and morning people versus night owls. If you read the text, you will find out that this is amazing. This is a way that you open new perspectives on what market segmentation is. Again, imagine combining all that stuff all together. Another technique, creative thinking, the Bono 6 thinking hats. Whoever of you is in instructional design probably knows about the Bono theory. So here we are asking in a concrete manner, ChatGPT, use the Bono 6 thinking hat strategy and create flashcards for multiple perspectives that could represent each hat about expansion investment of a mid-sized firm. And again, you are getting something unexpected. Next technique, and as you understand, we can't go into more details. We definitely suggest you to test all of that for your course. Here we are talking about simulation and how you can use the role-playing technique to simulate something, so as for your students to read the story with different roles, or to ask your students to play that story by sharing these roles. Again, a mind-blowing example. Socratic dialogue. Socratic dialogue, yes, you can ask ChatGPT to create a Socratic dialogue about a concept. For example, about Scandinavian design or about cooking training. And yes, you will see the technique, which is the Socratic technique. It's about learning through questions. And you will see that Socrates is asking questions and you have a student that is answering questions. Again, Socrates asking a question and student responds to this question. So imagine that we have a course and you have in the very first learning activity, the cowboy version of market segmentation. Then you have Socrates trying to help you understand market segmentation. And then you have a role-playing game with something, and then you have a simulation of a 5-year-old boy that tries to understand market segmentation. You will see in that case that ChatGPT will create, for example, a use case with Lego or with Playmobil or whatever. So see how powerful all that stuff is. Here we are talking about, let's go faster. I think we are a little bit late. Of course, in the human expression techniques, you can create poems. You can ask ChatGPT to create songs. You can ask ChatGPT to create jokes. You can ask ChatGPT to create emoji-improved messages. So here it's funny to see that tell me how a life coach feels in his daily routine with emojis. And you will see that here we are seeing a story with emojis with an explanation next to that. So let's go to the last layer where we are talking about tools, and I think we should definitely go fast, Elisa, to the LearnWorlds platform so as to showcase how all of that stuff can be embedded in a platform so as no need to know all of that stuff.
Yes, definitely. So basically, how can you use all of that, but without the knowledge of prompting and with the results being incorporated into your course immediately? So if I can share my screen, Panayota, I will show you guys some of the options. So first off, you can use integrated AI assistant for a course planner, for writing an ebook, for copy content in your pages, for instance, for email generating, to create assessments, and even feedback. So I'm going to show some of these. Let me share my screen real quick. So hopefully you can see this. And I'm going to be just fast forwarding these just to show you. So the first option here is creating the course's layout with the help of AI. So I'm going to play this. And I'm just going to fast forward this. So what you're seeing over here is a creation wizard, and I opted to create the course using AI. So as soon as I do that, I can see this screen, and this is what I'm seeing, and this is the important one. So here, this is the integrated AI assistant in LearnWorlds. So essentially, you do not need to prompt to just type it in. Just click here and there and decide what you want the assistant to do for you. So add in the name of your course and then decide the type of activities. Do you want to add videos? Do you want PDFs? Do you want exams? The list goes on and on. You can set the number of sections. Maybe I want 2 sections with 3 activities. I can specify key topics to be included. And as soon as I'm ready with anything I want included, I simply click on generate that you see over here. You'll see that there's so many things that you can determine over here. Not only tone of voice, instructional approach, we saw these earlier, the course's level, the tone of voice, the audience. So all of these things.
Sorry, Elisa, for interrupting. Sorry,
yeah.
But this is exactly what we were showing. So you don't need to know how to use the prompt.
Exactly.
LearnWorlds, for example, uses all that knowledge and offers you in a very easy to use way. So you're saying, I'm creating a course. I would like to see Merrill's first principle of instruction in my course. Let's see what course layout I can create.
Exactly. So no need to know the prompt, just select with just adding some buttons. So I'm going to fast forward, and what I'm going to do in the video here is just click on generate just so that you can see how that's going to look like. So it's going to look something like this according to what you opted for. And of course, this isn't the final one because some people were asking, yes, if you don't like what you see over here, you can go back, you can regenerate, and you can even just select if you want to type in a prompt. But obviously, this is far more fast and helpful. So if you're pleased with what you see, all you need to do in this stage is click the first button right here where it says insert. And what that's going to do is that it's going to incorporate the results of the tool right into your course. So you see it created the sections and the activities, and voila, it's right there. Of course, I can go back in if I want to add more sections and more activities. I can do that. Yes,
and I think it's very important to say here that it's not only that we, let's say, have an umbrella for the prompts, you also already have an e-course ready to be used.
Yeah.
So it's also the acceleration of you don't need to copy paste the material for ChatGPT to another tool or whatever.
Oh.
So you have both the prompts and you have also the output in the right format, in the right place, so as to create fast a course.
Exactly. Yes, it's helpful, but no, you do not need the knowledge necessarily of prompting. And yeah, you don't have to hassle copying everything over into your course. The tool actually includes and incorporates everything straight into the course for you. All right, so real quick into the next one. The AI tool can also be used for you to create an ebook from scratch or even edit it. I'm going to fast forward over here again. You have the option to create your ebook manually or with the help of AI. And here are just some of the things that you can do. So many things. We mentioned some of these. So you can use it to create a simple text or a story or a Q&A, a timeline, a journal, a glossary. So all of the things that we saw earlier, you see that they're available right here in your fingertips. All you need to do is just select what you want it to create for you, and it's going to do just that, right? So I'm going to fast forward. I think for the example over here, we're going for a story. It asks me what's the title for the story right here, significance of instructional design model or whatever yours is. You can decide where the story is taking place, the main characters. You can decide to include key points, and of course, even kind of like format the ending for your story, right? So I'm going to fast forward once more, and you'll see that again, it's going to generate it. It's going to come up with a result. And as earlier, you can read it. If you don't like it, you can always regenerate and, of course, insert. So I'm going to click to insert, and you'll see that right away, this is our ebook builder that you're seeing right here. So it took all of that result and it added it for you right into the course, into the ebook. So you see it's like this, but again, this isn't the final format. You can go back and always touch these up. You can polish these. If you select some part of the test, let me fast forward it. You'll see that right here, you can do other things into a pre-existing text. You can simplify, you can explain, you can polish, and so on. Create the Socratic dialogue that I think George mentioned earlier. So yes, you can see that you can do that with the tool without having to write any prompt. All right, let me fast forward this, see what it came up with a dialogue example, a Socratic dialogue. And of course, if you click to insert it, it's going to add it into the ebook itself. Let me see what else I'm showing here. Okay, let me jump into the next one. So another very big chapter is assessments. We all know they take time. We went through some options for the assessments and how you can, create prompts and add already existing material. So let's see what you can create in terms of assessments in LearnWorlds. So right here, we're creating an assessment activity, and we're selecting to do it with the help of the AI tool. So here, we're in the process of adding our questions, and you see exactly what you can add. So you can add multiple choice questions, true or false, drop downs, a mixture of both, reordering, open-ended questions as well. You can also have file assignments, mix and match, and the list goes on. And all of these, again, the tool will create for you. You do not have to type in the questions and so on. So I think I'm going for just the simple create question option over here. And let's see, so it asks me about the topic. So what is it creating the questions for? And you get to decide. So perhaps I want 2 multiple choice questions with 4 available right answers, right? And you can decide exactly what type of questions to include. Maybe you want to also include something else. I think I'm just adding true or false questions over here. But once more, you'll see you can specify the level of the assessment. So do you want it to be an easy assessment or maybe a more advanced one? Of course, the tone of voice, the type of questions, it can be based on Bloom's taxonomy. As we saw earlier, you can define details or things that you want included, add key terms, and so on. So again, I'm going to fast forward this just so that you guys can see. So here, for instance, you see some of the options it came up with. So here's a question and the possible answers. Now, since these are just answers that the tool and the system knows the right answer already, it kind of lets you know. And what I like over here is that it even offers feedback according to what question they get. So if they get the correct answer, this is the feedback that it's proposing. Or if they get the wrong one, this is the feedback it proposes. Of course, these are editable. You do not necessarily have to keep this, but it is offered for you. And we all know, just how long usually this would take, right? So I'm gonna fast forward once more, and you'll see that it's added it again right into your editor, in your assessment editor. Right here, obviously, you can also go back and edit these. And what I'm doing right here is just that I'm previewing it. So in a matter of minutes, I created my assessment, and now I can even preview it and see exactly how well my users are gonna go through it, right? So, and if they get a right or a wrong answer, and I added that feedback, the user will see that feedback as well. And I think, speaking of feedback, I can move over to the next one and show you this little video. So yes, feedback is important. However, feedback is sometimes a little bit more tricky when it comes to open-ended questions. So a lot of times, you need to spend time reading the answers, and then you have to come up with a feedback. So the AI tool, if you go over, into the assessment that you need to grade, what it can do is that it can take into account the question and the actual answer that the user gave, and then based off of the user's answer, which is what you're seeing over here, it will create a feedback. So this is what I'm doing right here. Let me just fast forward a little bit more. So I'm clicking on generate feedback. Once more, I can determine a few things over here. Is it going to be a simple feedback? Again, I can choose to include key points, or if it's going to be a lengthy one, a short one, a positive feedback, how strong it's going to be, set my tone of voice, or all of these things that you would otherwise have to do manually.
And which are very complicated, Elisa.
Yeah, definitely.
It definitely needs tons of work to say, okay, I need this type of feedback and so on, and write that. So now you just select some variables, and we are creating this feedback for you, and then you can edit the feedback and improve and enhance the feedback.
Exactly. Yes. And again, with open-ended questions, it's always a bit more tricky than just a simple true or false question. So there you go. Here's the feedback that it generated, and as always, you can insert or regenerate. I think that's it. Perhaps we can move over with the presentation. But guys, so many things, so many areas where the AI assistant can be used into LearnWorlds. And again, two key takeaways from here. You do not need to necessarily know or have great knowledge of prompting, and the outcome and the result is incorporated right into your pages, your ebook, your course, whatever you're creating essentially.
I think that the important takeaway here is that everything that we presented before, the 5 layers, the frameworks, all the little things that you can do by hand, are included right within the platform at your fingertips. That's the main difference. And we know that, especially if you've worked as instructional designer and this is what you do, you know about Merrill's principles, and you know about Gagne and De Bono and Bloom. And perhaps if you sit down and spend a few hours, you will do an even better job if you do a very, very bespoke effort for one particular learning unit, for one particular feedback to a student. But here, you can do that for hundreds of different learning units, for thousands of different students, for thousands of answers. So the productivity level is immense. And this can bring also back the joy and the creativity in your work, because these are the things that you cannot do on day-to-day basis. There isn't, we don't have the mental capacity or the patience or anything else to go in and provide the feedback level that each student deserves to have on an open-ended question where they spend 10, 20 minutes to answer. And here was where you can massively get back not just the quantity, but also the quality of your job, whether you are creating a course or responding to a course or adding fun to a course, whether it's presenting like a cowboy or like a cow or like an Indian or whatever. The level of creativity and joy and amazement and the surprise that you can inject back into your day-to-day work, it's amazing. And yes, you can do that if you also get ChatGPT today on the side and open an account and start copy pasting things. And you might get 10, 20, 30, 40% of what we're showing here. But what has been already integrated in terms of prompt engineering, integration, and the easiness of just creating selecting a few prompts and getting a full-blown course populated already with what you have asked, this is a next level output and productivity. And this is what we're here to offer. And this is also why we're trying to make the platform even more affordable and accessible to everybody who would like to create their best and most amazing course and find joy in their work This is why we're bringing this offer, a nice coupon for you, LWAY, 20% off, 20% off for 6 months. Go over to our website, no strings attached, no credit cards required. Start a free trial, play around, and if you don't see what we mentioned here today, obviously you can just discard whatever we said. But you will be able to create your most amazing course and enjoy your work as instructional designer just by going over, creating a trial, and start playing around with the tools we make available for you today.
I think always the instructor and the course creator is going to be the captain of the school. That's not under any kind of doubt. The big issue here is that you can have help. You can get help. You can be empowered. So are you going to use all that power that is next to you? This is what we are trying to do here in LearnWorlds, to simplify how you can exploit all of that power. And that's why we are always saying, you're the captain. Put everything in place, ask AI to help you, and then edit, improve, enhance, customize, adjust, because you know better than AI. But don't miss this huge opportunity to accelerate and to think out of the box with the help of AI. I think this is the most important thing from the webinar.
And again, because we also saw several questions asking about copyright and stuff like that. We are not talking about generic AI that comes in and creates all the content. This can be based on the things that you already have, the courses that you have already built, the content, the ebooks, the presentations. So you are already specializing things on the content that you have, and you are able to add your level of creativity, ingenuity, expertise, and science, the things that you know, and create an amazing results for your students. And we are here to help you. Panayota, Elisa, our amazing team, the great product behind the great team behind this product. We are here to help you out in this journey, and hopefully we'll make some amazing learning experiences for all the people out there that need it and deserve it. So thank you all very much, everyone, for staying today. I think we are 15 minutes past our time, but I'm super happy to see the engagement. We didn't manage to do any live to answer any live questions, but I think we had more than 110 questions answered by our by Eleni and Stefania, our crack team here on the chat. Thanks everyone for being for staying with us. We will share the presentation. There were some amazing interactions in the chat, so we really enjoyed also the discussion there. Thanks again for being with us today, and hopefully you got some great results out of, and some inspiration, some inspo out of today's presentation. Thanks everyone.
Thank you guys.
Bye guys.
Thank you.